Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Book Review and Summary. Book Review and Summary number 35. The Bitcoin Standard. Saifedean, Ammous. The Bitcoin Standard. The decentralized alternative to central banking. The book is an economist's perspective of Bitcoin and how it can influence our understanding of money compared to the fiat currencies that we use today. Saifedean Ammous is an assistant professor of economics at the Lebanese American University. He holds a PhD in sustainable development from Columbia University. The book starts with the basic definition of money and the history of it, from bartering to seeking a medium of exchange due to lack of common denominator to creating the fiat currency that we have today. He describes about some of the primitive forms of money in terms of salt, seashells, and how it moved towards metals like copper, silver, gold, etc. One of the fascinating examples is about an island in Micronesia which at once chose to use carved stones which are difficult to mine as a currency. Because these stones are big, it is kept in the middle of a village for everybody while the ownership is agreed by everyone in the village. Any transfer of ownership is acknowledged publicly by everyone in the village, resulting in a literal peer-to-peer transfer of ownership with the community overseeing it. Does it sound familiar? Yeah, it looks more like the Bitcoin conversation that we want to have today. Bitcoin is exactly on the same principle, just that it is in the internet era. The author tries to describe certain fundamental reasons why the fiat currency will find it difficult to survive and why gold as a holding reserve has been long-standing. One of the simplest tenets is the stock-to-flow ratio, which is what happens to the supply of the commodity when there is a huge demand. Does the market have the ability to mine more of the same to cater to the demand that by bringing down the price of the commodity? In case of gold, no matter how much the demand increases, the pace of mining of gold can be done only so much because of the difficulty in finding the ore of the metal and the process involved in extracting it from the ore. The author also talks about the gold standard which came into force in the 18th and 19th century and the printing of fiat currency bases the gold backing and how it helped economies to bloom because of the convenience the fiat currency gave in transfer of ownership rather than carrying gold across the globe. He tries to compare the stock-to-flow ratio of fiat currency to gold. Governments today can print currency where ideally they shouldn't be printing more than the gold reserves at their own will. This results in the free supply of the same and bringing down the value of the currency. The author tries to minimize the technical details of the Bitcoin construction. Basic funda remains that when a transaction happens, one of the node user expends electricity and processing power to solve a difficult problem and the others in the system validate the answer. So there is a significant difficulty in mining bitcoins where it can be shot down easily by fellow owners if the answers are wrong. This makes sure the stock-to-flow ratio is high for bitcoins like gold. As technology improves and there is an ease in the solving of problems, the Bitcoin network automatically increases the difficulty of the problems, thereby keeping it stable. There are some discussion points around the future of Bitcoin and how it is used for financing terrorist activities, etc. Also, about should governments buy bitcoins to ensure that they are not missing the bus. There is also discussions around if bitcoins can work for daily transaction given the very high compute power. Rather, can it be used as a reserve currency like gold and payments sitting on top of it? While there are many variants of the basic bitcoin which have been developed, the basic bitcoin remains stable because it does not compromise on the fundamental principles it started with. What are the key takeaways from the book? Number 1. Bitcoins as a concept has borrowed a fundamental concept from the primitive currencies, which is to have a peer-to-peer transaction network with a community overseeing the transaction. Number 2. The situation is moving fast towards a world where the current forms of monetary policy managed by the conglomerates and governments will fall down because of the pressure it levies on a common man, much like how governments were formed at a time the churches saw a lot of disapproval. Number 3. While bitcoins may not be used for daily transaction because of high compute need, Time is not far away when it can be used as a backing commodity like gold, and hence a Bitcoin standard like the gold standard. With that, we come to the conclusion of yet another book review and summary. I'll catch up with you with another interesting book and its review then sometime around. Thank you.